Hi, guys, whoever's going to hear this at whatever point in time. If you are like me and you're seeking a way out of this demented reality, um, I just felt like I haven't done anything in a long time, haven't commented, I just sort of lost myself in music because it's the only thing that seems to keep me straight. I've been watching, these near-death experiences for like years now. Must have listened to over 3,000 near-death experiences. That's when I lost count because I stopped saving them in sort of playlists. And, there's so many contradictions here and so many things that don't add up, that don't make any sense. Like, for instance, this one here is a specific one where um, he goes on, he has this life review and he's forced to feel every victim, every person that he's ever done any harm to, right? And he's sort of talking about a cycle where, in one life he does something bad and then he comes back and then he's the one that has to suffer because of the bad things he's done to somebody else, blah, 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 blah. All that gubbins, right? This karma stuff. And I can't help but noticing that there's a huge flaw in all of that. And so I'm sharing that with you now. So at around 33 minutes in, where he said he needed to reincarnate so he'd balance the suffering he caused, okay? Let me tell you what's wrong with that picture. If he now goes back to get some suffering, what happens to the poor souls that have to cause him to suffer? So he goes back into an incarnation so he can suffer. So there's somebody else who needs to make him suffer. They now need to also go back and suffer for the suffering they caused him, right? Can you not see how this is an eternal demented cycle? There is something fundamentally wrong with this. Also, if we are all one consciousness, then none of this matters, i.e. there is no right or wrong, because it's literally just one mind doing it to itself. So causing the suffering to itself, right? Then there can be no needing to go back and pay off some karma. That would be a completely illogical conclusion because he's done it to himself, right? If, however, we are individuated consciousnesses, then I refer you back to my first observation there. There is something badly wrong here. If what I described at first is going on, then we truly suffer from a demented consciousness, because that payback stuff is utterly counterproductive. In fact, it is narcissistic of that one soul to demand another soul would give him the experience of suffering just so he can feel he's paid something back, because he is then consequently causing that soul to suffer as a result of making him suffer. It seems to me more and more that we are a truly demented species. So if his philosophy is right, then why is he blaming himself for doing bad things? Those souls that he did injustice to deserved it, didn't they? Because in their former lives, they must have done something bad. So this is now their karma, right? Because this is an eternal pit of suffering we are in here, a cycle that is never ending. And if Robert Monroe was correct, then we have to overcome all religious attachments. That also goes for this karma rubbish. For I can't be blamed for stabbing myself. I actually got some responses there already, which is quite funny. Somebody said to that first comment here, if his philosophy is right, then why is he blaming himself for doing bad things? Oh, snap, you found a plot hole. I said, I know. Robert Monroe said we need to free ourselves from all belief systems to leave this place, whatever the heck it is. I'm done here, to be honest. I'm really, this is insane, right? And then somebody else said, I'm Jesus. I said, yeah, I'm Jesus back, right? I don't know. I'm me also, folks. It doesn't make any sense, right? It is illogical. I have been listening to this guy quite a lot, Jordan Cowder. and specifically his readings of Robert Monroe. I found them very helpful. And another channel that has given me a lot of calm of late is this guy here, Josh. He's got 3 channels. Spiritual Renaissance is just one of them. And I think if you click on his channel description, you'll find his other channels. I just felt I had to put that out because it just doesn't make any sense. This karma stuff, it makes no sense whatsoever. And I think if there are these entities that sort of play out, our life review and then make us feel guilty and guilt trip us, then, there's something wrong with them as well, because they are actually forcing and reinforcing this cycle to continue forever and ever and ever for this reason here that I explained in my 2 comments here. This is really food for thought for anybody who's fed up with being a human being.